Karen and two of her friends, Al and Anita, who are married, are walking on Karen's family's land in northern Alabama. It's about 170 acres, and it's heavily wooded with pines and hardwoods, and it's heavily trailed. And on this particular day, it was already dark out, but her friends wanted Karen to take them out on the trails. And they even had a couple of the neighbors' dogs, a coonhound and a Great Pyrenees, tagging along with them. And they walked a little bit south and then a little bit east to Karen's usual camping spot. And they're hanging out in the spot, just kind of chatting, when further back on the trail that they had just come down, the dogs start acting kind of strange. As they come out of the woods on their left, they keep looking back down the trail and then just stand there. And the Great Pyrenees starts growling real low and looking defensive. And the coonhound is kind of a goofball, but even he's acting disturbed about something. And they both just keep looking back down the trail. And Karen immediately gets this kind of strange, ominous feeling. And she, over the years, has learned to trust her gut, which she recommends to anybody spending time out in the woods. And Karen says to her friends, "We'd better get back to the house." And to get her point across, she grimly adds, "now." So they all start heading west down the trail with their headlamps on in the direction that they came from, and the dogs have vacated the area. And once they get back to the same spot where the dogs were initially growling, Karen looks back and sees Anita looking off into the woods as she staggers back a few steps. And Karen and Al both ask her what's wrong. And she says, "I'll tell you when we get back. I don't want to scare Al. He's kind of easily spooked." And once they get back to the homestead, Karen and Al ask Anita, "What did you see?" And she says at that point, she felt the need to look off to her side into the trees. And she saw something halfway behind a tree looking at her. And she says it was pale, kind of whitish, with an oval-shaped head. And it looked like it was crouching with long limbs. And she kept stressing how skinny it was, especially the limbs. And she said it had a surprised look on its face, like it didn't expect them to be there. And it was bobbing back and forth in kind of a creepy way, like moving its head behind the tree and then swaying its head and shoulders back rhythmically to get a peek at her. And Anita said it didn't appear to look aggressive at that moment. It just looked really scary. And Karen whips out her phone and pulls up the famous trail cam footage of the crawler or whatever it is. And once Anita sees that picture, she gets a shocked look on her face and just nods, yes. Now the next night, Karen is sitting out on the back porch and hears a freaky, very shrill scream come out of those woods. And she doesn't know if the two things are related, but she has lived in that area her entire life and has never heard anything like it. Karen and her friends and family still use those trails quite regularly, but never at night.